Hello YouTube, my name is Patrice and I'm here with another You Are Using It Wrong episode. Finally the season 1 came out for Apex and with it came out a new legend called Octane, another attacking legend. He has very fast kit and his playstyle is suited for very aggressive players. I personally had a lot of fun playing him and I was happy to see that he is pretty balanced. His hitbox is average and seems like it's a bit bigger than Wraith's, even that he looks a lot skinnier. And in general his abilities are balanced in my opinion. Well, let's not waste any more time and get into the video. As always, all the timestamps will be down below, so feel free to skip and don't forget to subscribe, especially if you like this video. Let's start off with skills. Passive, Swift Mend. Octane restores health over time if he isn't taking damage. So no, it won't work in the storm, as some people might think. It will only start to work after around 2 seconds with taking no damage. There's almost nothing to say about this ability since it's very straightforward. But one fact that you need to know is that it takes 200 seconds to restore 100 health. So 1 health equals to 2 seconds. So if you have 50 health and you are thinking of not using heals and wait out before you go into the battle, it will take you 100 seconds to get to the full health bar. And your team will probably be dead already. Yes, it is silent and makes no noise compared to normal heals, but it consumes so much time that it's not worth waiting for. Moving on to his tactical ability, Steam. The name goes after Titanfall pilot named Steam. Don't really know why you need to know this, but anyway. You get 30% speed boost for 6 seconds and he also reduces any slows that affect you by around 50% from my experience. If you know exact number, let me know in the comments below, but I had to visually calculate it because there was nothing I could find on the internet. It costs 10 health to activate this ability. No, not 10%, it's 10 health. And he also has 2 seconds cooldown after it ends, so you can pretty much run around with it all the time. By looking at the holstered running animation under Steam, I personally thought that it was a hint that Octane can run with or without a weapon on the same speed. But after testing it, I still did notice that running with a weapon is still a little bit slower than without. But it still does feel a lot quicker when you run with the gun on, and the difference between running with or without is pretty small, that I would even recommend always having a gun out when you are in the battle, since your speed is still faster than any other hero, but at the same time you can hold a weapon, strafe and shoot whilst keeping up with the speed. So my theory is the ability thinks that sprinting with a weapon is counted as a slow effect, so it reduces it by 50%, and that is the cause that makes you run almost the same even with a gun out under your buff. I tried this with any other slow abilities and noticed that it does help a lot, so if you play against Caustic Gas or Gibraltar's and Bangalore's ult, then keep in mind by activating your tactical you will reduce the slows that those abilities cause. What's even more important is that now you can actually play in team with somebody like Caustic and not get a slow, so you will still have advantage over the enemies inside the same gas as you are. Additionally, I noticed that when you're activating the ability when you are blinded, it works as a cleanse. So for example, look in this video, my teammate drops Bank's ultimate and you can see the blur I'm getting on my screen. I use my Steam ability inside and it makes it easier to see, at least for me it did. Maybe it's just a green filter that works when you activate your Steam, or maybe it just cancels out the blurriness. Now let's cover the situation it could be used in. Personally, I see it as a perfect skill to start off the fight. Yes, you do lose 10 health, but you gain 30% movement speed and turn into a much harder target to hit. It's easy to rush in and start the fight with this speed. Don't forget to use it mid-battle as well, to gain extra speed and confuse the enemy. But keep in mind that you will also lose health. You can also use this ability to flank enemies, but just keep in mind that it does have a sound and it does have a visual animation that is something similar to Wraith's Void Jump, but hers is purple trail while Octane has a green trail left behind him. So yeah, it's pretty bait. You can also use it to help out your team, since you pretty much always have 30% speed boost. Usually you will end up being further away scouting, so as soon as somebody attacks your team, you should definitely trigger Steam together with your ultimate to get there ASAP and help them out. People might argue on using this ability as an escape, since if you are low in health, it will only minus out even more, right? Well, from my experience, extra 10 health will almost never save you since you have your back open when you are disengaging, so it's easy to shoot you anyway and add that extra bullet. So personally, I always use the Steam to run away. It does consume 10 health, but it gives me extra 30% movement speed, which makes me a harder target to hit and much easier to get into cover, after what I usually heal up and recharge my shield. Keep in mind that using this ability will never kill you. Even if you have 10 health left, it will only minus out 9. Steam will always leave 1 health no matter how low you are. So don't think you might die from using it when you are low health, but be careful with using it in the storm. I usually always carry around a lot of syringes and medkits if I play Octane. So for example, if I play Lifeline, I usually carry only 6 syringes and around 12 shield cells. But with Octane, I try to always have at least 12 syringes and instead have less shield cells. Usually by running around and just scouting under Octane's tactical, you will end up being low on health. and occasionally want to heal up. This is the way I count it. You activate Steam and lose 10 health. It takes 6 seconds for it to go on cooldown and another 2 seconds for it to go off cooldown. That's 8 seconds in total. I would run around another 4 seconds without it, since it takes around 2 seconds for my passive to start working, and that in total gives me 10 seconds on my passive, which is 5 health. So I only lose 5 health by activating Steam. So by knowing this, I know that I can pretty much use Steam 4 or 5 times, after which I will need to use 1 syringe. I also try to bunny hop every time I use syringe to not lose out on momentum. And of course, don't forget to use it for looting. You will almost always outrun anyone and will be able to loot. And we will be able to loot items and hopefully weapons before the enemy. Well, unless they are Pathfinder. These guys are insane, especially after the new hitbox fix. And last but not least, you can use Steam no matter what you do. Just like Mirage, Decoy or Bank Smoke, you can use Steam whilst running, aiming, healing and etc. Now moving on to his ultimate, Launchpad. Deploys a jump pad that can catapult anyone through the air. Few things you need to know: it will always throw you into the direction you are moving towards. So if you look forward but are walking backwards, then it will launch you backward and not where you are looking. It counts in your movement course and not your facing direction. You can gain some momentum and slide into the jump pad, and also press jump right when you touch the jump pad to gain extra speed and a bit more distance. Also, if you jump straight on top of it without pressing any direction keys, then you won't go as much further away, but you will get a lot higher. It's perfect if you want to get on a high ground up close. I don't want to just be thrown into the wall. Another thing players don't know is that it don't matter from how high you will jump on it. Even if you jump on a trampoline from already a high place, it will still have almost the same effect and high. Any deployable skills can bounce off, so for example Gibraltar's shield or caustic traps. You can send them now further away with helping out your team, protecting them, or even attacking the enemy team with caustic traps by landing the traps on top of their heads. Even lifeline healing drone can be thrown, but it gets always stuck mid-air for some reason. I think that's a bug and it will be probably fixed in the future. You can also bounce off grenades and ultimates like caustic or Bangalore's, but it doesn't really get it much further. Unfortunately, Mirage's decoy doesn't really bounce off it, it just breaks as soon as it touches the pad. I don't know if it meant to be like that or it's just a bug, but that would have such a good potential for cool plays. But oh well, we get what we get. I even tried to bounce off Lifeline Ultimate, but it just ended up breaking the jump pad. Yes, the jump pad can also be broken. So compared to the Wraiths or Pathfinder ult, you can break jump pad with grenades or shots. It takes 100 seconds for your ult to charge, so it's super fast and you will almost have one for a fight unless you waste it just to move around the map. I would not recommend doing that since your steam boost is good enough to move fast. I would rather recommend saving your ult for the fight. It's so frustrating when you could take perfect position and higher grounds on the enemy if only you would have your ult that you wasted to just move around. Personally, I love Octane's ultimate. There's so many uses for it and it's super fun to use with a combo of caustic traps since you can launch them right on enemies' heads. The radius on the throw is amazingly big and I didn't expect it to be nowhere near. You can actually dash it pretty far before actually getting onto it. Make sure to always throw it a certain distance away since it does have an animation before it actually starts working. And the least thing you want to end up doing is running through it because you threw it too close and giving an enemy a perfect trampoline to follow up on you. Well, there is a specific play for this that I discovered. If you're running away from an enemy, you can actually throw the trampoline really close to you so the animation just goes on as soon as you run past it, and then by looking forward you can just walk back. That will launch you backwards, so the enemy that is chasing in front forwards will be really confused and it will be open back. Since your camera is still facing forwards, you will be behind an enemy ready to shoot right in his back. I personally always use it to engage the fights and take a better position. Make sure though not to just drop on your enemies with it, especially if they're expecting you, since mid-air you are a pretty easy target and it's easy to track you. Yes, you will end up using it like that sometimes, but don't aim to be using it like that all the time. As I said, after using my ult to start off the fight, I will try to get higher grounds and poke my enemy from there where it's safe. After landing some poke damage, I usually end up dropping down and using my steam to get closer to an enemy and rush them. If there's few entrances into enemy building, I would always try to go for a flank and attack from a side or back. On top of that, you can use it defensively as well. If you are getting rushed, squished by a third party or just in a bad position, you can always use it to disengage or to reposition. Just keep in mind that if enemy had a perfect visual on you, then they know where you went and probably will follow up. Maybe try to trap them or throw grenades where you land, especially if they come one by one. Additionally, you can use the jump pad to provide support. If your team is in a bad position, you can chuck it near them to let them escape or get out of there, since it does have a pretty big throw radius. Or you can use it to engage the fight and put some pressure off your teammates. Keep in mind that fallen players can still use the jump pad, so technically if your teammate got down, you can throw it at him to help him get out of the danger zone. Or you can use it yourself if you are down. And last but not least, you can also use it to flank your enemies. But because of the sound it makes, you have to be further away from them if you want to flank on their sides. So instead, I recommend getting a higher ground and just trying to jump over them. That way it will really be unexpected and you will have much more time to punish them. This sort of tactics work especially great in places like Skull Town. Alright, with the skill out of the way, let's move on to counters and team composition. Let's go one by one. Bloodhound. You work great with Bloodhound since both of you have nice speed boost in the battle. You don't really counter Bloodhound in any way, but he can be a little annoying under his ultimate, since he does gain a speed boost to catch up with you, and if you are engaging under your ult, you will be basically a bright red lamp mid-air. So Bloodhound can easily track you down and kill you before you even touch the ground. Gibraltar and Caustic work amazingly well with Octane. Most important is that your ultimate can bounce off the dome shield and the traps to reach further distance, but you also get to reduce slow effect and have better vision if you are under Jib's ultimate or Caustic Gas. So you can have a very good protection while still being able to effectively rush the enemy. Octane counters Gibraltar since with his movement speed and ultimate he can get out of the danger zone pretty easily, and you can use Gibraltar's dome shield twice as effectively against him since you will be a faster target than Gibraltar. On the other end, Caustic is kinda half-half. You counter his gas a little bit and can get out of it easily with less movement reduction or with your ultimate, but he also does damage through your shield. So if for example you use Steam twice and lost 20 health, plus if you get hit by Caustic Gas few times, you will already have 70 or less health, making you a weaker target especially if he can land headshots. Now moving on to Lifeline. I see Octane as a perfect counter for Lifeline. You have enough speed boost to rush her before she gets to recharge too much health back, and you can easily outrun or overjump her reviving shield and kill her. There's not much to talk about the team composition here since her drone gets stuck mid-air and anyone can benefit from her heals and revives either way. Now Pathfinder. Well, he has pretty much same ult as you. He can always catch up on the high advantage and help out his team. He's also a lot faster than Octane, and good Pathfinder can grapple a lot further than Octane's speed can reach. He's additionally a really strong flanker, and both legends have similar playstyles so they can pretty much counter each other. On the other side, they work perfectly together. Usually it's hard to catch up on Pathfinder flank and help him out. But with Octane, ult and Tactical, you both can collapse on enemy from different angles really fast, which makes this duo super effective. Wraith and Bangalore. I would say you don't really counter them too much, and Bang is still probably more effective in defense since of her passive not consuming health and her smokes, but you can catch up with both. If Wraith runs away with a void, Octane can easily track her down and be right on her back as soon as she comes out. Same goes to Bang's passive speed boost. Also keep in mind that Wraith under her ultimate pretty much has exactly same speed boost of like 30 or 25%, so it will be harder to catch her, but she has no weapons when she's under her ult and you do, so use it to your advantage. Playing in team with Wraith, you can cover a lot more distance with both ult combined. Also Bangalore ult works same as Gibraltar, so you can attack the enemy under her ultimate and have advantage on them. And moving on to last legend, Mirage. You don't really counter each other. Well, unless you're going to throw the jump pad right in front of him when he calls in decoy, since that will get it destroyed and tell you who the real one is. But let's be real, that will never happen. You also don't gain much playing with Mirage, but he does gain some benefit on your ultimate. He can ult whilst flying on your ultimate, which will give him a perfect aggressive attack while also having a lot of confusion on the enemy. Alright, now let's get to pros and cons. As always, I'll start with pros. Very fast and aggressive kit. Makes him a perfect pick for players that want to have higher kill games and don't want to stand in one place. Octane outruns pretty much anyone in the game. Octane gets reduction on any slows, so in current wingman meta it's pretty useful. Amazing ultimate that is very fast and you can reposition with it almost immediately. Almost no animation on Tactical, it pretty much activates immediately. Small cooldown on ult and Tactical. Can deploy stuff in the air, so Caustic Trap can actually fly pretty far. He gets silent heal. I mean silent like health, not the movie. Doesn't need to holster his weapon when in battle. Under the Steam ability, it's still faster than any other legend with holstered weapon. And now moving on to cons. Almost always has less health than 100. On average, you will be having around 70 health all the time before the battle. The passive is very weak and you can't really wait for it, and it stops working when receiving any sort of damage, so doesn't work in the storm. Can't really use his tactical in long storm runs since it might end up killing him. Loud tactical and has a bait animation, also the ultimate is quite loud as well. His hitbox is average and still pretty much bigger than Wraith's. It is balanced and fair, but Wraith is still a higher tier pick. Ultimate can be destroyed or used against you. Ultimate has a short range and sometimes won't be able to reach certain heights, unlike Pathfinder. Can be killed mid-air since the ultimate flight is very predictable. Okay, let's move on to the last part, how to counter Octane, or how to play against him. If caught off guard, Octane will have around 60 or 70 health, so as stupid as this sounds, try to go for headshots, since that way you can kill him with a lot lesser shots, especially if the enemy doesn't have a purple helmet. But I do know it sounds stupid since if you could launch headshots, it works pretty much against anyone. Try to listen out for Octane. He has pretty loud skills, so if you hear his tactical, then he's most likely rushing you, and probably alone since he's way faster than his teammates. You can destroy Octane's jump pad with grenades or ultimate, cutting off his escape or his team entrance. Also keep in mind that the ult flight is very predictable. It will always go straight from where you enter it, so you can pretty much throw your grenades where he will land or shoot in mid-air. Try to wait out his tactical as much as you can. It works for 6 seconds. There's few reasons for that. First, he will be an easier target since he doesn't have the 30% speed boost. Second, if he does uses 2 or 3 more steams, then that means he lost 20 or 30 health. So by waiting it out, you can make sure he is at his weakest before you attack. Octane will most likely have a short range weapon if he's rushing you, so switch onto your secondary too. And since I'm talking about this, I would also like to recommend everyone to use a short range weapon with Octane. As much as I believe that it always matters on preference and meta, I would still recommend having a shotgun or something like R99 for up close battles, since with Octane kit you will almost always end up close and personal. Alright, let's finish this episode here. Hope you liked this video guys. I was playing Octane non-stop 4 days straight after it came out. I was there learning and exploring, but I'm 100% sure I will still miss out on something. As much as I tried to learning everything before making this video, instead of uploading it an hour after the Octane came out, I'm still pretty sure there will be things I missed. Please make sure to comment them down below to help me out and future viewers. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Come on, I really need more subs. Come on, just press that subscribe and maybe that bell notifications, you know? Help me out. Help me help you. Wait, what? I'll be posting a lot more of Apex and other games in the future, and I will also live stream very soon, so you will be able to ask me any questions you want and in general just like hang out and stuff. Sounds fun, doesn't it? Anyways, I thank you for watching this long guide and I see you guys in the game. Bye.